one, I can't not talk about this movie without talking about the title GoldenEye. It's the second film not to be named after a Fleming novel and has nothing to do with anything in the Bond novels. However, and we talked about this back in Dr. No again, this episode is titled after Fleming's home in Jamaica, which was named after an operation he had planned in World War II. It dealt with Spain and Gibraltar, and if Spain had gone into the Axis power, but basically they never had to do the operation. It was one that he had himself had planned out. And then speaking of GoldenEye, so I spent a lot of time, and I think you had the names wrong, Charlie, in the beginning. It's Pita and Mishka.
Petya and the Misha.
I said Mishka and Grishka because those were the twins from Octopussy. I was just fucking around.
Grishka.
Oh, okay. Okay. Mishka! I was like, that's not the names of the twins. So the name of the satellites are Pita and Mishka.
Petya and the Misha.
And I was like, okay.
Petya and Misha.
Petya and Mishka, sorry. Ha 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 ha! Shut up, Scott. So I'm like, these guys, they have to mean something. There's a reason why the writers decided to pick these specific names. I'm like, there's got to be a reason. The first one's Peter. It's Russian for Peter. And the second one is Mishka. And I was like, okay, what's Mishka? And the closest I came up with was it's Hebrew for who is like God, but it's also Michael in Russian. So there's Peter and Michael. So they're two biblical figures.
We got Archangel Michael, and we got Peter
the keep.
The Rock.
Peter is the keeper of the pearly gates, like you said, and as well as but he is also known as the first leader in the Catholic Church or just Christianity. And Michael is the archangel in Revelations who defeats Satan. So you could look at it as Peter represents the first or the beginning, which is like the beginning of the film, the beginning of the conflict, and Michael represents the end of the conflict.
Sounds like
Two-faced Roman god.
Giannis.
That is not something I looked up. That is all like figured this out. I'm like, oh yeah,
Giannis.
that totally makes sense.
Like you said, Giannis, beginning and ending, Alpha and Omega. Yeah.
It all fits.
Two-faced Roman god brought to life in Petya and Misha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
It all fits.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That one chick's two-faced in the intro.
Yeah, it's almost like they did that on purpose. She has two faces.
Almost. But and then a gun comes out of her mouth.
Guaranteed you've seen the Giannis films. It's all
the
film
Criterion films.
And it's, two faces, one facing one way, one facing the other. I mean, if you think about it, that's the perfect name for a film company. What is a movie if not a beginning of a conflict all the way through the ending of a conflict? And when you get to the end, you just hit play and then it just repeats endlessly. I mean, that's why we have January. January is the beginning of a year and the ending of a year at the same time. And that's where its roots come from. Just a quick detail, a quick production design detail I got to point out. The vault, let's call it, that protects the GoldenEye card thing and the keys opens up like an eye.
Yep.
It opens up like an eye.
The point on top of the computer is also an eye.
Nans, what did you think of this movie?
I liked it.
Of course you did! Of course you did!
I will say, this, unlike all the other movies, I think is the first one in this series we've done that I've previously seen. That said, I don't know if I've seen it since it came out. Like, I know I've seen it. I remember different parts, but I don't know if I've seen it more than like my initial viewing, however many years ago.
You were like 6 years old when it came out.
Yeah, I don't know when I would have watched it. I did see like Jurassic Park in theaters. I doubt I saw this in theaters, but I did see it at some point. I always remember what's his face saying, "I'm invincible," and then being frozen.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I am invincible!
So like I definitely have seen this movie.
Boris.
But yeah, I mean I definitely enjoyed it. I'm worried though that it's impacted by nostalgia, maybe? Like the video game, obviously, in DK mode.
But all the same, I have been accused of somebody named Ryan McCurdy in the past of liking this movie just because of the video game. And the video game is outdated. You can play it here and there just for kicks, but, we have much better games now.
I mean, the AK-47 always looked like a black colored pencil, so.
Yeah, so without bias, though, absolutely without bias, you can come to the conclusion that this movie deserves to be at the top. And I know they're just kind of teaser at where everybody in the comments section keeps saying it's super overrated. I think you have to give credit where credit is due.